Welcome everyone to another edition of Behind the Curtain. I am your host Pedro DeLuca, and I am sitting here with Leva Bates, one of the top independent female professional wrestlers at this time. Leva, thank you so much for joining me here today. And Leva, the whole purpose of these Behind the Curtains is we've seen what you can do in the ring. You've traveled all over the United States, all over the world. We've seen you in the ring, we know what you can do, but we want to get to know behind the wrestler, what makes up the wrestler.
Okay.
So my general first question is, what made you fall in love with professional wrestling?
I don't know. I was a strange little girl. I always had boy toys, and like my favorite thing was my He-Man and Castle Grayskull, and then my Thundercats toy. So it it seemed just natural for me to watch wrestling. I don't know. I just always loved it. One of my best friends was Chewy. I swear I had that turned down. He'll go off again. Let me turn this off real quick. Okay.
No, it's fine.
What was I saying? Okay, one of my best friends was a boy, and we would get together and we would watch wrestling, and I was just captivated by the characters. So, because it was, in the heyday when it was the bright characters, you had like Coco Beware, Ultimate Warrior, Undertaker, all of those, all over the top crazy characters, and I really loved that aspect of it. And then I also really enjoyed the physicality of it. I was always a rough and tumble type of tomboy girl, so of course when we would finish watching wrestling, we would wrestle ourselves until we got yelled at or broke something in the house and got sent outside and had to play with the toys outside. So I just, ever since then, it just kind of traveled with me as I grew older. There was a small phase during puberty where I was like, I can't watch wrestling. That only lasted for a really short amount of time, and then that was during the whole Monday Night Wars with WCW and WWE. And what got me really hooked back into it was the Lucha Libre stuff they were doing on WCW. That's what initially got my attention, because it was like a six-man crazy, everyone was wearing masks. I don't remember who was in the match now, because it was the first time I watched wrestling in like a year or two. And people were flying all over the place and doing crazy stuff that when I was younger I didn't really see as much, because it was more of the old school, storytelling. And so it was just something new and fresh for me, because I was living in Kentucky, so you can't really go out and really find a lot of stuff, and that was pre-internet. So that really got my attention, and then we started watching it, and then WWE had like the over-the-top characters with like Stone Cold and The Rock and D-Generation X and those guys, so that kind of hooked me there. And with the type of wrestling that WCW was showing us, they were showing us old school, they were showing us lucha, they were showing us all sorts of different styles, technical, brawler, so that really got my attention too. Plus they had Jericho, and my favorite, one of my all-time favorites is Jericho with the ponytail, Lionheart, coming out with the rule book and like Dean Malenko stand-up. I thought that was just pure genius. So that's really what got me hooked back into it. I just always loved wrestling. My family, well, most of my dad, like the guys in my family, were really into wrestling too. We never wrestled ourselves, but we always were just into it. And I used to throw Monday Night Nitro parties, I call them, or just Monday night parties, and we would wrestle in the house. And I broke one of Mom's pictures, and she just found out about a couple years ago that it was actually broken when she redecorated the house. So we just had parties of like, I don't know, we just did that, and then it just kind of kept going. And then next thing I know, boom, I'm working at Universal Studios as a stunt woman and dancer, and going and watching TNA because it was filming there, and a bunch of my friends who were training, they were like, hey, do you want to look into wrestling? You already do stunts, you already do dancing. I'm sure wrestling's really not that off what you do, the beaten path. And I was like, I would love to do it, I don't know how to do it. And they're like, there's wrestling schools. There's what? There's wrestling schools? There's schools for this? Why am I just now finding out about this? So that's how I kind of got into it. And this is a really long-winded answer. I'm sorry.
That's fine. Because that follows up to my next question. You got your start. Would you like to go into your training? Who were some of your trainers, and who helped you along the way to get started here in this crazy business?
Initially, my first school I ever started was called FXC. It was ran by AJ Gallant, but our two trainers there were Matt Bentley and Devon Dudley. And when Devon broke away from the school, because there is some internal, you know how it is. Mm-hmm. I honestly don't even know what anything was going on. I don't know if it's a money thing, a heat thing, a beef thing. But when he decided to leave school, him and Bubba decided to have their own school, and I went with them. And I've been pretty much a Dudley girl ever since. I've trained with them for the last 5 years.
Training with the Dudleys, they Bubba Ray specifically, or Bully Ray as he's known now, is kind of known as a hot-tempered person. Did you see that in your training?
Oh yeah. Tell
us a little bit about Bubba's training with you.
Bubba, yeah, he's awesome, and I love Bubba. I'm Bubba's girl. But he's very, yeah. I've seen him where he gets really mad when he has to say the same note over and over and over and over day after day, because it's telling him no one's listening. He's talking and it's not going in. So he always talks about don't prostitute other people's finishes, you know, don't do a finish early in the match, whatever. There's one time, I probably shouldn't say this, but there's one time, I was always the note girl too. Like we would watch matches and he would critique like the psychology and the stuff, and I would take notes for him. So I was sitting there taking notes for him, and we were watching a tag match in class, and these guys did the electric chair early in the match.
Okay.
Bubba picked up a stool and threw it to the wall. I was sitting there going, whoa!
Did that go in your notes? Bubba threw chair.
And we had to sign, because we have a personal trainer, Dan Carr, who trained the American Gladiators. He has all these motivational things all over the wall to kind of get you pumped and go. And one of them was made out of like wood blocks, and it was like, you know, I don't remember what it said now, but it was all wood blocks on the wall, and when Bubba hit the sign, and like half the letters fell off. So I was like, ooh. We should have saw the people in the ring. They're like keep going. But yeah, needless to say, they were like, I don't know what to do now. But yeah, I mean that's just one extreme case. I mean, usually he'll just yell. He's a yeller. But yeah. One thing about Bubba, it's not really a temper thing, but like when we do chalk class, woo, that was fun. I had a Bubba handprint on my chest for a week. And like at my job, like when I'm changing into to my costumes, whatever I'm doing at Universal, because I do different costumes and shows there, I take, change in my costume and be like, oh my god, what is that on your chest? It's Bubba Chap.
So after you were investigated for domestic violence.
No. Everyone's like, I'm like, well, you gotta, what school does, it toughens you up. It kind of calluses your body, because, I mean, if you're gonna be wrestling all the time on the road, your body needs to be tougher. So that's what they would say, which is true. I feel like I've survived a lot more than I probably should have,
After your trial by fire in your training, you make your way out into the independent ranks. Tell us a little bit about some of the promotions you've been fortunate to work for.
Oh, wow. I started off mostly just doing Florida stuff, like a lot of local, like Central Florida, like Tampa area, some just Jacksonville stuff. What really, I think, started getting my name out to more of the world was when I started doing FIP.
Okay.
Doing FIP, I was with Age of the Fall for like a hot second. That was a lot of fun. That was one of my first big things I ever did. And then when they kind of started to disband, I was just kind of with Tyler Black for a while. Then he went and got himself signed. And then they put me with Dark City Fight Club for a while. Then, they turned me heel and I went there.
I'm Leva Bates.
Hi. what was I saying? Oh, what was I saying?
You were talking about the independence.
Oh, yeah.
Working with
That,
Fight Club.
doing FIP got me introduced, and I got to know Dave Prazak through that.
Okay.
And through Dave Prazak, that got me into Shimmer, and I think that's kind of where everything kind of blew up.
Exploded for you.
Yeah, there I moved to WSU and just kind of started getting my name out more places, started hitting different other states, having a lot of smaller shows in other places. It's definitely starting the Regeneration X tag team kind of really I guess blew me up, so to say, kind of having Alice in Danger kind of, guide me and partner up with me. It's been an awesome ride. So that's kind of where, I guess, the path of Leva has taken me. So.
What was the inspiration for the Regeneration X tag team name? Gimmick, I guess you would say.
Danger and I found out we have a lot in common. Like one of the first things she ever said to me, I had my gear bag and I have a Dharma logo sewn onto the gear bag because I think it's funny when you fly and people see in the airport a Dharma logo because you think of lost air crash, So it just makes me kind of giggle. And she was like, "Oh, you watch Lost?" I'm like, "Yeah, I watch Lost." She was like, "Oh my God," blah blah blah. We started talking about that, and we started talking about, "Well, you watch this too? You watch this too?" Found out we both love Doctor Who. Next thing you know, we just kept talking about silly pop culture stuff all the time, like, oh, we both think Michael Fassbender's so hot, or we think so-and-so is this, and we think this is awesome, and can't wait to see this movie. So it was just kind of, our friendship gelled. And then when I really started getting on the main Shimmer shows, I got to do a match with Allison, and I think we gelled so well in that match that it was like, we need to be doing this together. Instead of fighting each other, we need to do this together. Because she was really all about bringing up young talent, bringing them up to the next level. And she was like, I want to bring you, I want to bring you up, and I want to do something fun too. You and I have so much in common. We have so much fun together. Let's take this and show the audience. Let's show the fans out there, this is how we are. This is who we are. And so we kind of just, we took, she's like, you do your, still do your costumes craziness, because we're just going to be pop culture, enthusiasts, pretty much. We're going to be just the gurus, and we'll just go out and do, the ridiculous references and ridiculous costumes and ridiculous just, moments in wrestling, So we decided this is what we need. This is what I think Shimmer needed, because when you look at it, you got a lot of awesome wrestling, a lot of hard hitting, a lot of go, but we need more of the light side, more of the comedy side of it, because there's so many different stories you can tell in wrestling, and we wanted to be able to, yes, we can wrestle, and we can give you as hard hitting as you want, but we can also make you laugh, we can make you smile, we'll give you that roller coaster ride. Okay. From the high to the low to the high again, I talk a lot. I'm sorry.
That's fine. But I'd like to bring you to Absolute Intense Wrestling. After overwhelming fan support, we have brought you into Absolute Intense Wrestling. Tell us your thoughts on your journey here to Absolute Intense Wrestling, and what do you expect in the future here at Absolute Intense Wrestling for you?
I am super stoked. I've been seeing Girls Night Out all over Twitter and Facebook and stuff, and I was like, wow, it's an all-girls show, it's a really great card. How do I get to be a part of this? I really want to do this. And I know a lot of times, being all the way in Florida, you're removed from the world, So with amazing, tremendous fan support, we all worked together and we got my butt up here. And I'm really excited to show, Absolute Intense Wrestling and Ohio what I can do, because this is my first time wrestling in Ohio.
Okay.
And I'm really super stoked about that. I'm starting to hit almost every state, and I'm really getting excited about that. So, and this is one I know and I've heard of, and it has great quality coming out of it. It's not just some little indie promotion. It's something more. It's something better, and I'm glad to be a part of that. I want to help, push it to the next level. I want to be a part of that. I want to be a part of saying, hey, you don't have to sit at home Monday nights watching a 2-minute women's wrestling match. You can actually come and support, indie shows and these all women shows, and so guess what? We can bring a lot more than you give us credit for. And that's what I want to be a part of, because places like Shimmer and WSU and, Absolute Intense Wrestling, they actually give us the chance we deserve and we need. And that's all you need. You need just a little push and to show the world what you can do. And sometimes you don't get that shot. Other companies are just like, oh, you get maybe one girls match. And so you drive all this way and it's like, oh, well, the girl you're supposed to wrestle's not there. Here's the manager. Go in there and roll around with her. And you're like, really? And like, this company cares. They support the women. They love what we can do and what we stand for. And I'm really excited to be a part of that.
All right. Well, Leva, the best of luck for you here at Absolute Intense Wrestling and all over the indie circuit. Thank you for joining me here behind the curtain. We hope this has been informative to everyone. This is Pedro DeLuca with Behind the Curtain with Leva Bates.